A book filled with secrets so disturbing, so controversial, and so shocking that it shook the world from beginning to end. A book so dangerous that for a long time, even the Vatican banned it. But here's the real question. Was this mysterious book truly revealed to Enoch? And if Enoch is the same person as Prophet Idris ﷺ in Islam, then does that mean this book could contain words that originally came from Allah? Because what's written inside it is not normal history. It talks about a time when giants walked the earth. It talks about a forbidden union between beings who descended from the heavens and human women. And from that union, a terrifying race was born, the giants. But did these beings truly exist? Did they really declare war on humanity? And most importantly, what does Islam say about all of this? Because Idris ﷺ is not described as an ordinary prophet. He is described as a prophet with rare and mysterious knowledge. Some narrations even say he played a strange spiritual game with Azrael, the angel of death. And in the end, he was raised to the heavens. But where is he now? Is he in paradise? Is he alive in another realm? Or is he in a dimension we cannot even comprehend? And once you hear what is narrated about his time, you will realize something shocking. What many people call human history today may feel like a fairy tale compared to what really happened. And now we reach one of the most unbelievable parts of all. According to Islam, the height of the prophets and the nations of that ancient era will shock you. We prepared this video after researching dozens of sources to support what we present. So please subscribe to the channel, because with your support, we can reach even more people. Now let's begin. As Muslims, we cannot completely ignore the original Book of Enoch. Even if it truly existed, its rules do not apply to us today as Muslims. But here's something extremely important. That does not mean we can confidently reject the entire book and declare it 100% man-made. Because if even one sentence in it originally came from Allah, and we deny it, we could fall into sin without even realizing it. So we must stay away from dangerous statements like, everything in it is fake. Instead, we must be careful. We must compare. We must analyze. So now, let's look at what is written in the Book of Enoch, and then see how Islamic sources speak about these matters. Islamic scholars mention that Prophet Idris ﷺ was given 30 pages of divine revelation. So the question becomes, if Idris received 30 pages, then how many pages are in the Book of Enoch today? Here is the surprising part. These writings were not discovered as one clean, complete book. They were found more like scattered pages, fragments, scrolls, and broken pieces of history. And there are three major discoveries, each one carrying signs from deep history into our time. The first and oldest full version was found in Ethiopia. A Scottish traveler named James Bruce found it during a 6-year journey to Ethiopia in 1773. He brought back 3 copies of the Book of Enoch written in the Ethiopian language Ge'ez. At that time, Europe believed the Book of Enoch was completely lost. The second discovery happened in 1886. A French archaeological mission found parts of a Greek translation of the Book of Enoch in a Christian cemetery in the city of Akhmim, Egypt. These fragments were important because they showed that the book spread widely and existed in different languages across different civilizations. But the third discovery is the one that changed everything. In 1947, in the Qumran area, ancient scrolls were discovered. These scrolls became known as the Dead Sea Scrolls, and among them, scholars found parts of the Book of Enoch, written in Aramaic. This discovery gave researchers crucial information about the book's earliest language and where it may have originally come from. Many scholars believe these fragments date back to the 2nd century BC, extremely ancient and filled with strange and disturbing details. In this video, we will focus on this book, and then we will move into the unusual and mysterious life of Idris ﷺ as told in Islamic sources. One part of the Book of Enoch is especially strange. It is called the Book of Giants. And this section focuses heavily on the story of the giants, who were said to be the children of fallen angels. It describes how a race known as the Nephilim was born, from the union between fallen angels and human women. The book also contains prophecies, and these prophecies begin to appear through dreams. It speaks about the dreams of Enoch, and also the dreams of the giants themselves, and their interpretations. Enoch had two very important dreams. The first dream was the dream of a great flood. When Enoch was still young, he saw in a dream that the earth would be destroyed by a massive flood. He told this dream to his grandfather, Mahalalel, and then he prayed to Allah, asking Allah to preserve a righteous generation on earth. Enoch's second dream is even stranger. It explains the history of humanity, but using animals as symbols. This dream begins with Adam and continues until the time of the Messiah. It describes major events in human history through symbolic animal figures. But when we examine this from the Islamic perspective, we immediately notice something important. Jewish and Christian scholars made a major mistake in how they explained the concept of fallen angels. They even described Satan as a fallen angel. But Islam teaches something different. Islam reminds the world of a third creation, a type of being many people forget. The Jinn. Shaitan is not an angel. Shaitan is a Jinn. Angels and Jinn are completely different creations. Angels are made from Nur. They always obey Allah. They do not sin. They do not rebel. Jinn are made from fire. They have free will. Some believe, some reject, just like humans. And according to the Quran, Iblis was not an angel. He was a Jinn. There are even Christian and Jewish interpreters who say that there was no sexual contact between angels and humans. And honestly, this story may have been exaggerated later in the West to make it more dramatic, more frightening, and easier to sell. We can also see this from the fact that different versions of the book have very different texts. This shows that the original was changed. However, one thing most sources agree on is this: the Nephilim, the giants, were extremely tall beings, and they brought chaos and destruction to the earth. Nephilim appear in ancient Hebrew religious texts. They are described as large and powerful, but in the end, they were destroyed and wiped out from the earth. Now we reach the part that everyone is waiting for. What does Islam say about giants? In Islamic sources, there are narrations and hadith that describe the physical features of early nations, including the height of Adam, the people of prophethood, the nation of Ad. And here is something important. Idris lived between Adam and Hud. So if Adam was extremely tall and the people of Ad were extremely strong and large, then we can understand that Idris and his people were also tall. Let's look at the evidence. In authentic hadith, it is said that Adam was about 60 cubits. In a hadith reported by Bukhari, the Prophet said, Allah created Adam and his height was 60 cubits. When converted, that is approximately 40 meters. The Quran speaks about the people of Ad to whom Prophet Hud was sent. They were powerful, strong, and arrogant. They built massive structures and towering buildings. They said, "Who is stronger than us?" The Quran does not mention their exact height, but authentic hadith state that Adam was 60 cubits tall, approximately 40 meters. Idris lived only a few generations after Adam. So early, humanity may have been significantly taller than people today. And this is where many connect the discussion to the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch describes giants and mysterious beings. It speaks of unusual unions and a race of powerful figures who brought corruption to the earth. Islam does not confirm those specific details. The Quran does not mention Nephilim. It does not teach that angels rebelled or married human women. However, Islam does affirm the existence of Jinn, beings created from fire who possess free will. Jinn can influence humans. I mean, every human has a personal shaitan. Shaitan has helpers. But angels in Islam do not disobey Allah. Some folk narrations speak of beings called nas, unusual forms said to result from interactions between humans and jinn. But there are no strong, reliable sources confirming this. Such reports remain speculative. So when reading the Book of Enoch, a Muslim must follow a principle. If something agrees with the Quran, we accept what agrees. If it contradicts the Quran, we reject it. If it is unclear, we neither confirm nor deny it. The Book of Enoch may preserve fragments of ancient memory, but it is not revelation for us. The Quran is. And the Quran corrects what was altered before it. Many people connect the Book of Enoch's stories with the account of Harut and Marut. Islam clarifies this. Yes, Harut and Marut were angels. Yes, they taught magic, but it was not rebellion. They acted by the permission of Allah. It was a test. At that time, devils were spreading magic and deception. People were being misled. Harut and Marut exposed the knowledge in order to warn people. They repeatedly said, "Do not use this for evil." Knowledge itself is not corruption. Misuse is. Like medicine, a doctor must understand disease to cure it. But if knowledge is used for personal gain and arrogance, destruction follows. This pattern appears repeatedly in history. Ad were strong, but arrogant. Other nations had knowledge, but misused it. Power without humility leads to ruin. The Book of Enoch describes corruption spreading before destruction. The Quran confirms a similar moral pattern, but without mythological exaggeration. The lesson is not giants. The lesson is arrogance. Now we return to Idris. The Quran describes him as truthful and raised to a high station. He was among the earliest prophets after Adam. He was known for knowledge and discipline. He wrote with the pen. He advanced mathematics and astronomy. He improved agriculture. He taught sewing and practical skills. He divided his life between teaching and worship. 3 days preaching, 4 days devoted to worship. His community had become corrupt. He called them back to obedience. Narrations describe an encounter between Idris and the angel of death. Azrael accompanied him in human form. Idris noticed he never became tired or hungry. Eventually, Azrael revealed himself. Idris asked to taste death. By Allah's permission, he experienced it and returned. He described it as terrifying. He asked to see hell and collapsed from fear. He asked to see paradise and saw its peace. Some narrations say he remained in paradise by divine decree. Scholars differ on the exact meaning of raised to a high station. Some say he was physically raised. Others say his rank was elevated. What is certain is this: Idris struggled against desire. He combined knowledge with humility, work with worship, intellect with discipline. And that is why he was honored. Book of Enoch raises dramatic questions: giants, hidden beings, ancient destruction. But Islam gives clarity. Angels do not rebel. Revelation is preserved in the Quran. Speculative legends are not equal to divine scripture. The Quran confirms that early nations were powerful. It confirms unseen beings exist. It confirms corruption leads to destruction, but it avoids sensational detail. Mystery attracts attention. Clarity gives guidance. The Book of Enoch may reflect ancient traditions about Idris, but the Quran remains the final authority. The real message is consistent across history. Arrogance destroys. Knowledge without humility corrupts. Strength without obedience leads to ruin. Ed said, "Who is stronger than us?" Every nation that says this eventually falls. Idris represents the opposite: humility, discipline, worship, service. The lesson is not the size of ancient people. It is the size of the ego. And every soul, giant or ordinary, stands before Allah.